Deadpool Wolverine for off-panel off-topic.
I think it's soon. We can't record it, dude.
Ah, crap. What if we record the movie and then play the whole thing on audio? Would that be?
What, we do like a commentary?
Would that be actionable?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I feel so like it would.
Oh shit! All right, we'll see you later. Me and Jake running down the street with a handful of comic books, kicking ass and banging chicks and drinking beers
No, not
and
me.
smoking
Not
weed.
me. I'm married.
Yeah, well,
I'm married.
Jake.
Can't do that.
Yeah. Off panel, off topic with Jake and Tyler.
Yeah.
Whoa! What a movie!
What a absolute banger.
What a
So we're coming from you.
2.5 hours of straight up adrenaline fueled banging.
Wow.
Sort of.
We're also coming to you live from the Disney jail because we had that cold open. So we're in Disney jail.
Actually, we're probably in Cinemark jail because that's some motherfuckers.
No, they're desperate, bro. They are desperate. Let me tell you something. So we saw this movie. We're recording Sunday.
Who's desperate? Cinemark?
So we went to the 11 o'clock matinee for this movie. We sit down.
We're talking about Deadpool and Wolverine. By the way, I'm Tyler.
They've seen
that's
the
Jake.
title. Fuck them.
I'm Tyler. That's Jake. Go ahead.
Jake cut me off mid-rant, brother.
I know. Go ahead.
Son of a bitch.
I just.
Anyway,
keep
so we always talk about our theater experience because you and I think, have talked about a lot on this show of where we're at this place of like, I love going to the movie. I still love going to the movie theater.
Yes.
I still want them to exist. But at the same time, I'm like, man, I do appreciate that we're doing the streaming thing, having a family and scheduling. And sometimes it's just like, fuck it. I'll just wait for that to be on some streaming service.
Well, I've also been lucky enough not to be able to avoid spoilers. I don't know how I've been able to, but I just am. So it's not like I have to see it right away.
I have one thing spoiled for me.
What was that? Well,
I'll get there.
Yeah,
but it
was
just funny to me because we have talked so much about that of like all the trailers and commercials and shit before the movies. I also saw Maria Menounos and I almost fucking chucked my popcorn. I'm just kidding. This fake rivalry with Maria Menounos, who's a nice lady and done nothing to me.
Actually, she's probably like a humanitarian, like
probably. No,
you know.
I know she. I've seen like her on stuff. She's a wonderful person. I'm just like,
seems like it. Yeah.
I just hate fucking waiting for movies.
Yeah, that's all.
That's really all. It's nothing personal, Maria.
Listen, if you didn't work for Nuvi, which is God, but if you didn't work for them, we'd be much happier with you. And you know what? It doesn't matter. No. She doesn't know who she is.
So yeah. Anyway, we're waiting. We got the trailers and blah blah blah. Also,
wasn't too bad this time.
Hey, shout out to me for having a genuine, and I think you did too, a genuine trailer in the theater response to Alien Romulus.
Yeah.
Because I had never seen that trailer. I'd heard so much about it, but I never actually watched it.
I had not seen it either. In this age of going to YouTube right away, you know?
Yeah.
And
so,
it was
looks
nice
fucking
to see
awesome,
It
dude.
was nice to see the Captain America trailer on a big screen.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
By the way, it looks fucking awesome, and I'm actually really interested in. But I
could care less about the new horror movie starring whoever.
James and McAvoy.
Whatever.
I don't remember the name of that movie. I just remember looking.
Cares.
I just remember looking to you, being like, "Can he just play a normal role? I get that he's really good at being like a lunatic, but like, can we just get him to get a normal role?" But anyway, so we have this trailer for Alien Romulus, then a random commercial, then another commercial showing the same footage of that trailer saying like, you can't watch it on this screen, and it's like a quarter the size of the fucking screen.
No.
And then they bump it up to like...
The wording was actually, if you've only seen Alien on the screen this size,
you haven't seen it,
you fucking pussy.
You haven't seen shit.
You fucking coward.
So then they blow it. So then they blow it up and like you have to, and then you get the full sound and you had the theater experience, which makes me laugh because like 1 or 2 trailers ago, the Borderlands trailer, the audio mixing was dog shit. You couldn't hear anything.
And honestly, that looks really stupid.
So then we do that commercial, and then another thing happens, and then then a big thing of like, listen how loud and perfect this picture is.
That's like the TH. That's the version of THX.
I know, but that's another Cinemark thing, and then it's another tag of like, you gotta fucking be here.
You know, what'd be really interesting, by the way.
Thirsty for me is all I'm saying.
When they're talking about like the whole surround sound and doing that whole ad, like I actually consciously started thinking about it, and yeah, there was sound all around me, right? Yeah. And that's cool. But then I was like, I think it'd be interesting to watch a movie before surround sound was a thing.
Yeah.
Like a movie from one of those times that has the mix.
Well, I just said, like, it's what, speakers on the fucking projector?
You know what I mean? No, they were speakers in front of the house.
Yeah.
I think they had speakers like all through.
I think it's always been a thing, yeah.
But not surround
sound. The
sound.
movie we went to go see was Deadpool and Wolverine. That's the movie we're talking about here. Episode 160, everybody.
Does that mean we get cash now?
What? For Cinemark? They'll probably pay us. That's how desperate they are. It's just the spacing of it, people. It's like to have two ads almost back to back being like, hey, thank you for being here, but you need to fucking come back. Please.
I'm Tyler from Off Panel Off Topic, and when I go to a movie theater, I make sure it has the Cinemark seal on the outside.
And
if it doesn't, I'm driving until I find
Sure,
one.
I could watch that on Disney Plus, but fuck that shit. I could go to a Cinemark
and spend $72.
Yeah, spend way too much money.
And basically eat air, because that's all fucking popcorn is. I don't care what you say, corn farmers. It's fucking air. You're eating fucking air. That's what fat people eat. All right,
so we saw this movie at a Cinemark.
I'm sorry.
And,
Did I fat shame?
Shit.
Fuck. So awful.
Well, Cinemark is definitely not going to hire us now.
Well, I think after you said "fuck that shit," is when we were already done. I didn't
That's
say
a good ad.
You go back and listen to my first ad before that, and it was nice without any swears.
Oh, fuck you.
Fucking dickhead. All right.
Speaking of fucking swears.
Shit.
This movie.
Pizza time? Do we have pizza time?
I feel like we got to just get that like right out the
away.
way.
Fuck it.
Because
I
want to
hear. I want to hear what you got spoiled, like immediately.
Okay.
I have to hear it. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about my movie theater experience today was decent. I walked up and was like, hey. Well, first of all, I walked in front of these two people. My brother and Jake were like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, I turned to the couple, and they clearly were like standing away.
I didn't say anything.
Carter was like, yeah, whatever. Anyway, so I walked up to the guy and I'm like, "Hey, can I get a large popcorn with a shitload of butter?" And that's what I always say, and almost always they get it. But here's one thing we're not really understanding or thinking about: we're eating last night's popcorn. They don't make a shitload of brand new popcorn at 10 in the morning for your dumbass. They use the popcorn left over from last night. They don't make brand new popcorn till 4 or 5 in the afternoon. Do you know that? I'm aware of that every time I go to a matinee because it's cheaper. But I still like going to matinees because sometimes they get the butter thing right and I don't really notice that it's last night's fucking popcorn. But I did today, man. Hey, man. I did today. Did you find it yet? I've been
No, that's the spoiler now because that's all I can. I feel like
we can have a better spoiler.
Pizza time anyway. So I don't know where the fucking thing is. Okay,
I lost it. We could get a better spoiler.
I don't know.
Hey, if you
maybe not. Maybe fuck yourself.
If you haven't seen Deadpool and Wolverine, fucking turn this off.
Yeah.
Until you do.
So I had Henry Cavill spoiled.
Okay.
That's the only thing I had spoiled.
That's not that bad though.
No, it wasn't terrible. But I was like, oh. I was like, yeah, that would have been cool.
I knew it was going to be a cameo because they showed him first a couple times during that montage just from the back. And I'm like, I wonder who it is. And to be really honest, I didn't really get a good look at him. It kind of looked like, I don't know. His hair looked funny.
Yeah.
He had a great voice. You're going to get out of here, bub.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
I can't believe they did it just for that. Just
I love the fucking rock star hair on Age of Apocalypse.
Oh my gosh, all the Wolverine variants. I love the
comic accurate.
Fucking. Okay, so this movie.
Hey, little buddy.
So from the jump,
you're short.
What I love from this movie is it just says, "All right, look, let's not take this like that. Like there's some honestly a lot of good character moments in this movie.
Yeah.
But I think the fucking audacity for them to just go there at the beginning of this movie, I was cackling. And look, I have said on this show, I've said a lot how much I fucking love Logan. And I can tell you, I don't think it does anything to the legacy of Logan because that was the funniest shit ever to start a movie.
Dude, you have no idea. I was born in Fargo, North Dakota, and when he said, "You think I'd want to be here in downtown North Dakota," which is the fucking funniest thing that I've ever heard in my life, because honestly, that is downtown North Dakota.
That's not how regeneration works. Yeah.
No, North Dakota.
Yeah, I know. But like the fact that he was like
that was funny.
Actively digging him out of a grave.
Fuck.
And then the next shot is him sitting next to this decaying metal skeleton is so fucking funny. And then the
You're
TVA,
looking a little dead there, mate.
Yeah. Trying to make him talk.
Yeah.
I know you. And then like to do a whole montage of him not even using his own weapons, using the adamantium skeleton Wolverine.
There was a whole point where he was just using Wolverine's spine and skull as like a mace.
Yeah, and just smashing their heads and cracking. And it's like, and I love that it just goes into immediately saying like, yeah, this is still the Deadpool that you've seen in the other two movies. This is still going to go as hard as those other movies do. And to do it in a way of literally taking the bones of Wolverine of this dead franchise to kill all of the TVA. It's just a fucking funny way to open
I think
a movie.
my all-time favorite from that opening montage is when he jabs the fucking leg bone in the guy's crotch and then moves his hand down the leg bone he's jerking him off.
Yeah.
Also, when he finally gets the claws and starts using them, that is fucking hilarious because like he's trying to get them out because they just get stuck.
Wolverining is hard.
Oh my god!
He's got one stuck in one dude's ass and the other one is stuck in another dude's dick. And I was like, that is so
painful.
Wolverining is hard. Oh, and he stabs his own. My own fucking arm.
Yeah, because it's hard. And that's a nod to Hugh Jackman himself. You know about that. He's cut himself many times.
Yeah. And it's just, the whole thing where he does the whole claws and then they do what they did in the first movie and they rewind it back to show you, how did we get here? And like, that's another thing too. I was kind of wondering how it was going to work and how much of this was going to be Wolverine movie as well. And I'm honestly glad that we got a little bit of this variant of Wolverine, but it is still Deadpool's movie. It's still about Deadpool.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like this. It's like it reminds me of Civil War in a sense of like, yes, all these other characters are involved, but this is still a Captain America movie.
Yeah,
and that is something that I think shines out throughout the movie, and having all these callbacks to the first two movies, and having Ryan Reynolds be a part of it on all three movies, and in some aspects of and writing the second and third movie.
Yeah.
It shows with the continuity of it, which is even funnier because they just do whatever the fuck they want with continuity by the end of this movie.
I'll say a couple of things.
Yeah.
Before we get into the actual plot and stuff, let's talk about expectations because I want to go there before we start digging into it. I just like No Way Home, and I fucking have told myself to stop doing this. I told myself have your expectations be mid so that you're not let down. But also, you could possibly have your mind blown. And trust me when I say, my mind was blown several times during this movie. But I was let down in the same regard is that I thought this was going to give us some answers. And it fucking didn't. At all.
Yeah.
It did not. And I stayed through credits when I had to piss my pants to watch a joke about basically Chris Evans getting to say a bunch of nasty shit on its film.
Yeah.
Hey, this is what's next or anything, or this is why fucking this is whatever.
Well,
none of this shit.
I think that's also like what we were talking about.
And I hate that I'm like that.
It's what we were talking about at the end of the movie when we were walking out of the theater of like I saw somebody say this on Twitter and I was like, I can kind of see that. Where it is the fact that like, okay, we're seeing like it almost looks like a flip of roles where you're seeing, okay, what James Gunn is kind of doing. You're seeing the foundation being laid of where he's going to go with this. And on the other side of it, you look at the MCU and it feels like they're just throwing shit at a wall. And
I don't think there's a clear overarching narrative.
I want to mostly talk about and I mostly want to talk about Deadpool and Wolverine. Part of it will be a little bit of a discussion of what they're doing with Fantastic Four and
Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, and Doomsday and all that shit.
Which you are not, I don't think, as excited about it as
insane.
I am.
So but this is what gets me. Even this movie is so fucking meta, and it's also criticizing. It's like, does this mean change is going to happen if you yourself are addressing it? And you can do that with Deadpool because he breaks the fourth wall. But the fact that multiple times through this movie he goes, can we just move on from the multiverse shit? It's not working. Like, even the character in a multiverse movie is saying this shit doesn't work anymore.
I believe he says it when all of the multiversal Deadpools are standing in front of him.
And he says this is fucking
Can we
dumb.
stop with this?
It's almost like maybe we shouldn't have done, and look, I get it. It's me talking out of both sides of my mouth being a hypocrite because I'm the same guy that's like, oh, I fucking love Spider-Verse and I love all this shit.
Me too.
But you know what? It's different if it's done well. It has to be done well. And like you and I said, it doesn't feel like there's an overarching narrative.
Can I tell you?
And we thought this was going to answer some questions.
My favorite movie, my favorite Marvel movie of the last couple years has been The Marvels. And can I tell you why? Because it actually fucking furthered the fucking story. After that, it's Multiverse of Madness because it gave us some fan service. I fucking hate that I'm saying this, by the way, but it gave us some fan service and fucking moved the story forward. And whether you like it or not, you are a shared universe.
I'm a defender of Multiverse of Madness, by the way.
I love that movie.
I fucking love Multiverse
that's,
Madness.
That's the next one because it, you know. The problem, I love this movie, and I have no problem with having a movie every once in a while that's standalone, and there's nothing in the end credits or anything that references anything else, and it doesn't, you know what I mean? I'm okay with that every once in a while. But like the last fucking 4 fucking MCU movies have been self-contained things. Well, yeah, even Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was basically self-contained.
Yeah.
It doesn't...
Yeah, but that was actually good.
Even
good.
Wakanda Forever was almost self-contained. I mean, we don't really know what's happening with Namor after that. We haven't seen... What about the Eternals? Apparently Captain America 4 is the first time that fucking giant statue in the North Arctic... Yeah. I'm just saying, there are criticisms to be leveled, and for a long time, I have tried very successfully to silence my own doubts about my favorite movies.
Yeah.
Because I like them. I'm always probably going to like them, even when they're shitty, because it's comic books in the movies.
Well, I think...
And I love comic books.
And I think that there was a little bit of confusion. I think that... Not necessarily confusion. I just think that it was, like I said, managing expectations and what, and you and I both were, when this first got announced and we first got the news that Hugh Jackman was coming back and we're doing a Deadpool Wolverine team up.
It's the biggest news ever.
Yeah. And you and I think a lot of people speculated that it was going to be, okay, this is how they're going to bring the X-Men. He's going to kill off the Fox universe and bring it into the MCU.
Right.
They kind of do that, but then they kind of don't. And I think maybe as a way for them to justify bringing some actors back into the MCU that they want to bring back, and kind of do what James Gunn is doing and doing kind of a hybrid approach with it. But it's also like, I should also accept the fact that what this movie truly is, and when I think what they're trying to go home, and they fucking drove home in the end credits, if you didn't get it, was an ending to Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool trilogy, and this is an end to the Fox universe. And it was a way of saying we're not killing it off. We're not saying those stories didn't matter. We're not. And honestly, it is kind of a sweet message of like, hey, you know what? If you love those movies, we're not saying they didn't matter. It's okay. On the same coin, if you hate those movies,
it's okay
we understand that as well. We also get it.
Here's what I'm going to say. Deadpool and Wolverine is a lot like Deadpool, the first Deadpool. In terms of story beats and everything, right?
Yeah.
A lot of it is saving, saving the in the first one it's her, but in Deadpool and Wolverine it's his own universe and whatnot.
Yeah.
So let me get this straight. What Wolverine did in his own universe, the terrible, terrible thing that he did was he walked away when one night and the humans went to the mansion and how? How the fuck?
I don't know. But that's the thing. I don't think that's important.
I don't think so either. But when you're showing me like these fucking long rows of like I'm apparently thinking tombstones, you're gonna show. I mean, what happened? Is it anyway? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But so that was kind of vague. I didn't really like that. But it is a great way to send off Hugh Jackman again.
Okay.
It's a great way. I think Ryan Reynolds had a lot of fun with it, but I do think that I don't know. I thought I hate being like that. I really do because I just want to enjoy the movie
as a movie.
And as a fucking movie, I laughed out loud more times than I have in a long time in a movie.
Oh, the movie, it's fucking funny.
There's so many.
So funny.
There's points where you laugh at a joke, and during your laugh at that joke, another joke happens, and then another one, and you can't stop for a while.
Yeah.
Like, that was cool. I love those. The comic accurate fucking Wolverine costume. I mean, just jerk me off, man. Really? Like, take all my money. You know what I mean? Like,
that was so funny, dude.
There's so much about this movie that I loved, but I expected more than I wanted to, and I know that now, and that's okay. But
you also have to think about it for me. I also think this is the most Deadpooliest Deadpool movie of all Deadpool.
Sure.
And I think as someone who's been a longtime fan of the character, as someone who's read a lot of the books and really love this character, to see it be just fucking unhinged and be like really embrace the batshitness of the Deadpool comic book. Because that's what it feels like. It feels like a really good, like a really funny, well-written Deadpool team-up book.
Yeah.
And that's what this movie is. And I understand how, and myself, because I had expectations, and it didn't do. It does. But it kind of goes
give
there,
me those,
and it kind of does those things, but it doesn't, because again, the whole point of this was to be like a meta thing of like, this is it. There's no more Fox stuff. Everything now that is going to be X-Men or mutants is going to be what we planted with Miss Marvel or with the Marvels, and I think if you view it through that lens, okay, but it can be a little bit, like you said, you have a different expectation of what it is, and you clearly had fun with it though. You still enjoyed yourself,
right?
It's still a really fun movie.
It's a lot like No Way Home, and I talked to you about this too. I knew I did have high expectations going into No Way Home of like a lot of like cameos. And we didn't really see any other than the ones we knew about. Mm-hmm. That's fine and everything, but it's just
I know
I just hate that I had that, but there are so many things to love about this movie though.
Well, that's the thing. Great example. I'm with you, managing expectations. Mm-hmm. And towards the end of the movie, we're getting to the third act part of they're about to take over Cassandra Nova's stronghold or whatever. Mm-hmm. And at this point, I'm like, maybe this is the third act. I don't know where this movie's going. I'm like, this seems like it'd be the third act. This would be the end.
This is one of those movies that you're just like, I'm just gonna ride it out.
But at this point, I'm like, man, I don't feel like we've seen enough Deadpool and Wolverine together. And I'm like, dude. And I stop myself, and I'm like, dude. There was a montage where Deadpool gets killed multiple times for different versions of Wolverine. There was they fought each other for the first time when they're in the void. They just fought each other in a car.
For no reason. I felt like they threw that in there, and I'm like, thanks.
It really was like an extended sex joke. It really was, because of the way that it's shot and the music, it's supposed to be this homoerotic death scene.
Right.
Because it's even rocking like they're fucking.
Yeah. But here's why I love it.
I think it's hilarious.
Is that, at this point we've seen so many really well done fight scenes. And there are some incredible ones in this. But honestly, the creativity was also in Shang-Chi. They used that a little bit, and also Nobody with Bob Odenkirk.
Yeah.
But those kind of tight corridor fight scenes are really good. I just watched Dead Reckoning Part 1, and there's a scene where there's a whole thing where he fights Palm Clementif, her character. Yeah. He fights her in that little stone hallway or whatever. alley or whatever. I really liked that they just they tried to raise the bar as high as they could as far as fight scenes go, and I think they succeeded mostly.
And then but I also had
and Hell's Bells for the first time they're fighting. Fuck yes, dude. Fuck yes.
Even funnier for me is
you heard me going like, oh yeah.
Yeah. What's even funnier for me is that it was also when I had that moment of like, I don't even think we've seen enough of them actually together, was like right before they killed all the fucking Deadpools. And I was like, well, I was fucking wrong. Just enjoy. So yeah, you gotta. Sometimes I'm with you. Sometimes I even myself have those moments. I'm like, dude, think about what you're watching here.
I was mostly successful during this movie. And same thing with No Way Home.
Yeah.
I think, I don't even know what to say about Eternals, but when we're talking about the overview of the MCU right now, we're talking about a lot of starts and stops for various reasons. COVID, the actors strike, the writers strike. We're talking about a lot of starts and stops that force them to restart everything after phase, what was it, 3? Endgame ended with 3?
No, phase 4 was when it was post Endgame.
So phase 3 was the Infinity Saga, first 3 phases. Yeah. Okay. So the problem is not, I don't think, because
phase 4 starts after No Way Home or Far From Home, because Far From Home is like an epilogue to
right,
whatever. Yeah, but yeah, same.
It's all the Infinity Sagas 1 through 3. So 4, you start off and we have COVID, and they wanted to, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Captain America and Winter Soldier was supposed to be the first Disney Plus show, and then I believe Multiverse of Madness was supposed to come out first. But then Wakanda Forever came out first, right?
WandaVision came out first. It was WandaVision.
There were a couple of movies
Falcon,
that had
Winter
to
Soldier.
keep switching or whatever.
No, the order kept getting changed.
Yes. The point is that I think hopefully they're trying to get back to that. To what made the Infinity Saga so successful, which is overarching character development. Right,
and leading in it, and having these solo stories, but also having
a clear direction.
Well, it's because when people said for the longest time, the first 3 phases are so good, is because they're movies, but they're also presented like television series. Like this is the Captain America season, this is the Iron Man season. Like that's the interpretation of it, and is that overarching narrative. This one has no fucking overarching narrative. They tried to fix it with Loki, and yeah, I'll say it. This is all Jonathan Major's fucking fault. You just had to be a fucking shitty person.
Also, how the fuck does Loki season 2 figure into any of this?
Well, this is obviously post season 2 because
it's got to be pre-season 2 because there's still
because B-15 or whatever, she's the madam
true.
or whatever. So this is post Loki season 2.
Okay. Right.
But yeah, it look again. I could understand if people are frustrated there's no overarching narrative to this of like where this plays. But again, I think we have to manage our expectations in a sense of like this was always meant to be a love letter to the Fox stuff. This was always meant to be, and you know what else? Again, themes. It was, yes, these stories do matter to some people, and we should acknowledge that they matter. Even if they weren't the best, some of them do matter.
Days of Future Past is still a pretty good fucking movie.
It was still fun to see Hugh Jackman fight Tyler LeBane or whatever. Or, no, not LeBane. That dude's a
Tyler Maine.
LeBane is like a comedic
Tyler
actor.
LeBane.
Different guy. But yes, like to see that moment and like to have those little like even the little joke of, oh, isn't this where you fight Hulk, and like just have the little gag of Hulk, and he's like, I'm Marvel Jesus.
That was awesome.
I'm Marvel Jesus with great purpose, and he slaps him. Like that's fucking funny. Like I love that shit. And you know that was probably a joke they did later because they're like, oh, it's after the strikes. We can do these jokes now. So, and his face is covered, so it works.
There are a lot of great, we just
had to accept that it was always meant to be like a love letter to that.
And that's fine. And you know what? I went into this movie, like I said, I tried to have mid expectations, but I know damn well now that part of me it frustrates me when it's clear that the MCU is not sustainable, and it's clear to me that it isn't. And adding these newer, older characters now is just like, what do you know? I just don't see it working at any point. I think they're just gonna have to reboot it at some point completely, and that makes me sad because I love these movies so much, even the bad ones. Now there are a lot of chuds and shit out there that use the diversity and whatnot to say that's why.
DEI
it's not why.
And all that shit.
It's because they're not really good movies. But it disappoints me because I figured that this would be the movie that kind of rescues the fucking MCU. That says, hey, and to be honest, it really didn't do shit for the MCU. Deadpool and Wolverine are not in the MCU. I mean, what did it really do for the MCU?
Technically, he did go back to his own universe, yeah.
I mean,
well,
what are we talking about?
So you know what I'm saying to you is what I'm telling to you is this, and here's what: you want an overarching narrative, and this is where it's gonna go. I don't necessarily like it, but I think this is where it's gonna go. This is what is gonna happen. Listen, stop it. I have my theories. Don't say it because I want to lose it. They're staying in their universe so they can come back in Secret Wars. So they could bring Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds back to be in Secret Wars. And they could bring back Sam Raimi's Spider-Man if they wanted to, or Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man if they wanted to. Because we're committing to this idea that they're going to stay in their own contained universes and then only pop out when we fucking need them. So there you go. They're going to be in Secret Wars.
Well, thanks for telling me that now, you fuck.
What was your theories?
No, I was just going to say, I don't have any theories. I was just going to say that I, no matter what my managed expectations or not and how I feel now, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
That side of me, it's a smaller part of me. The larger part of me is satisfied and had a great time at the movie. There were a lot of really great moments. There were a lot of great laugh out loud moments.
This is also a very much
There was a lot of fan service that I just fucking loved. And by the way, I'm really stupid with voices. I know you said Don Johnson was probably the cowboy Deadpool.
I think it's that or Matthew McConaughey was what
who
I was
was
thinking.
Who was Lady Deadpool?
Blake Lively.
Okay.
It was his wife. Which I thought was, like, of course. There were some people that thought it was going to be Taylor Swift because she was seen with him at the,
there were
game.
How many things were like she's going to be Dazzler?
Yeah. Even I think I mentioned it on the show that was one of the rumors. But
okay, and you know what? I love your idea and I love your theory and whatnot because I think I'm hoping that it's right because if Feige's doing what I think and what you think, he's trying to get us to Secret Wars so that he can fucking reboot the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And that's a perfect way to do it.
And it's because every time you see...
Because the second Secret Wars is how they kind of soft rebooted the Marvel Comics universe.
And every time that you see these movies like No Way Home and this movie, they are never talking... Yes, they make jokes and they take pot shots at their own failures with it or whatever, but they never do it in a disrespectful way. They never... And I think that is by design... Because even Feige himself said that those Fox movies, those other movies, even when they've rebooted characters, he said those stories are in the MCU because they're part of the multiverse of the MCU. So that's always been on the table.
Yeah.
So that's maybe where they're going, and I think that would be the way to do it. If you're going to do it, do the Secret Wars thing. Say every single story that we've ever done fucking matters. And put it into this, and blow it up, and start over.
Yeah.
But this movie itself, on its own, if you view it as a Deadpool and Wolverine movie, and the movie that also acknowledges that you've got enough of fucking Wolverine, so when we do have his backstory, it's kind of vague and stupid because we don't care because it's a Deadpool movie that happens to have Wolverine.
That's absolutely fair. And I gave my stupid brain made up a lot of expectations that I wasn't planning on. But it's just the way I am as a comic book fan.
No,
I
get
am
it.
a fucking Marvel shill. I can't help it. I totally am.
But
there was so many.
This is why this movie is the most
John Byrne reference, the downtown North Dakota.
This movie, what did I tell you? This movie.
Mask.
Listen.
No.
This movie is the most comic booky, Deadpool-y comic book movie ever.
That's why I fucking loved it.
Because he makes fucking editor's notes in this movie. You mean the villain from Loki season 1, episode 5? That's a comic book reference. That's a comic book joke. That's such a good bit. Like, there's so much good in this movie.
Oh, dude, yeah. There's so much.
And I fucking loved it, man. Like, from the first sequence, they do that whole thing where he's killing him with 207 if it's
207 is Gossip Girl.
He's doing that and killing him. And then that whole sequence, and then cutting it back to him trying to live a normal life with the fake hair, and like nobody knows. Everybody fucking knows. The fucking.
There's little bits like like
when he says we're kissing, it's like this isn't pretty. When he thinks the TVA guys are like prostitutes, and he's like, "Oh yeah, we're doing this dirty."
Oh yeah, we're kissing for sure. Yeah,
I'm not used to. I'm no stranger to pegging, friendo.
But Disney Plus is, and he winks into the camera.
But the fact that he was like, "We're kissing," and he eats a Tic Tac.
They take his wig off, but he staples it on. So for the next like 4 or 5 scenes, every time you see him without these little tufts, and it's those little moments, it's those little bits that kind of just make this movie. And again, if there's any criticism I have, it's because of my own expectations.
Oh, yeah, I get.
But in general, I had a great fucking time. It was exactly the kind of shit that a comic book nerd like me can just.
Well, here's a great example. Here's a great example of managing expectations and being happily surprised. You and I talked about it. We thought, they're gonna mine the Old Man Logan universe, and they didn't. It's just the Void, where which is all the abandoned properties for the Marvel.
Here's
Fox
what
stuff.
I was gonna do instead. I know where you're about to go. I was gonna say we could like talk about all the cameos now because we've kind of given an overview.
But so essentially, I
feel like we should go through the cameos and rate them.
Well, there was the montage I talked about where Deadpool learns that essentially Logan is a Nexus character for the Fox universe, and he's dead, so that universe is going to die.
Yeah.
If you have a Nexus, Nexus, these are what hold these universes together. Anchor peoples.
Anchor beings.
They call them anchor beings, but they're fucking Nexus characters in the Marvel universe. We've talked about it on the show before. But anyway.
Did we not see the Scarlet Witch on the ceiling of a cavern at one point?
Did you? Did we? I don't remember that.
Yes, there was.
I didn't remember. That's an Easter egg I missed. Well, I know she's
Mountains of Madness.
There's no
Multiverse of Madness.
There's no way she's died.
Do you remember the Multiverse of Madness?
I know what you're talking about. The temple.
I don't remember what part it is in the movie, but they're going through a cavern at some point and they walk underneath.
So Deadpool's plan is he's gonna pluck a Logan from some other universe and drop him into the Fox universe and be like, "Look, we swapped him and it's fine. We can make this work." So the next thing is just a montage of him just getting fucking murdered by all these different Wolverines.
Well, first he checks him out, and then he gets murdered. And we start with the comic accurate Wolverine,
which is just this little tiny, like, oh my god. Oh, comic accurate Wolverine. And it's just like, cute. Oh man. Which is such a funny joke, and it's such a funny way of like, look, there's only so many things that we can make fucking comic accurate, guys.
Age of Apocalypse was next with
the big fucking heavy metal hair.
He's actually lost his hand in that timeline. And yeah, I loved his hair. Have you ever heard of a band called Screaming Trees? They were they were very small, a very lesser known band during that grunge explosion in the 90s. But they had this drummer, I can't remember his name, Barrett something.
Logan.
And he had like a fro. He had a white guy fro, but it was just it was just really
feathered
bushy
hair.
He just had really bushy hair. And whenever he drummed, it was like And that's what that hair reminded me of. I love that hair. I wish I had hair like that. But that was the next one. And then we had Patch.
Yeah, the Patch thing. We saw Patch. We saw the kind of the Old Man Logan again, where he looks like kind of like Clint Eastwood. He was like, "Oh, we're gonna do that."
Yeah, blows him
Apply
away.
some lotion, and he shoots him. Yeah, each time they kill him, we got cavalry. He's like, "I'm just saying for this, like this is pretty great, right? Like we want this, right?" And then he just annihilates him. And then we finally get to the Wolverine that we end up with at the bar, which is actually a scene that was on Disney Plus. I saw that before I saw the movie.
Oh, really?
It was like a little special look.
So let's talk about the Void cameos because there's a lot.
Also, I want to point out that this Wolverine has its own, like, this is pretty exclusive to this movie. It's borrowing some inspiration from Old Man Logan.
Sure.
Because he was...
It's kind of vague,
he was
which
mind controlled by Mysterio and kills everybody in that. But, like, so they kind of take that. But, again, I think what they drove home with that was, like, it doesn't really fucking matter because this is still Wade's movie that he just happened to be in. But,
he's a tragic Wolverine. That's all you got to know.
Yeah, all the X-Men are dead, and he fucked up, and he killed a bunch of people, and whatever.
I don't know. Did he? Who cares? Did he kill people, or did he just let people get killed? I don't know.
Till you're 90. Yeah, every time
You're 90.
every time they get his reference that he left, but when he says the divorce was rough, I was like, good Lord.
There was nothing off the table.
Well, they're good friends. They're gonna roast each other like that.
So
but,
I think we start with the biggest kind of switcheroo cameo, which was Chris Evans.
So when he shows up,
Well, underneath his robes, you kind of know it's him.
but they did a trick with his clothing to make it
Right.
kind of look like Captain America.
It's mostly blue, but like
Yeah.
the edge of his
But they
sleeves
cover
was
his
like red.
chest, and yes, and he has red wraps around his wrists. So it's kind of. But I nudged you before it was even
Yes, you
revealed. I'm
did.
like, he's gonna be Human Torch. I go, wait, he's gonna be Human Torch though, and you're like, what? I go, he's in the Void. He's in the Fox stuff.
I knew he couldn't be Captain America, so not logically.
Well,
but
before that,
definitely you called it.
Before that, when we finally get to see them fight each other, the first fight. Look,
Oh, dude,
I
Hell's
have
Bells.
my yes, and then
Fucking,
the make it look like a showdown. But I have my qualms with the CG. I'm also accepting that just some things, like if you want these characters kind of move like they do in a comic, you're gonna have to make some compromises. It's just the facts. I don't think it looked too bad. I don't think most of the time it was most in the camera shit, or it looked very believable in the camera shit. So
I didn't really find
but
too much.
when he goes
wrong
on
with
all fours and fucking runs at him like you've never seen in a movie, but he's done in the comics before. I'm like, oh shit! And like, I love whenever he did the thing where Wade was trying to like do a flip over top of him, and he's slicing at him while he's diving, and then like, and it is like you were talking about. It is just funny because they're just two guys that just stab. That's it. And then yes, Wade has guns, like Deadpool has guns, but he's just mostly like stabby stab stab.
Well, so obviously
baby knife. Like every time he uses the baby knife.
My favorite part of that first fight is, of course, I knew fucking Hell's Bells was going to start. Those bells are fucking unmistakable, dude.
That or
right?
the Undertaker.
See, I wouldn't think, but no, you're right. Hey, I don't know. But that was really fun.
Look at the camera. There's no camera.
I think definitely when we talk about my favorite Wolverine moment, I gotta talk about the Deadpool slaughter sequence, because, and we talked about this right after we got out of the movie. You don't really think about it, but pretty much what Wolverine does is get people down on the ground and stab them a lot.
He moves like
And
he literally just moves like a Wolverine.
No,
he just runs around.
He stabs a guy, and then he moves on to the next and grabs him and stabs
And
him a bunch, and then he moves on to the next guy. He's not like Deadpool's doing all this acrobatic shit behind him and around him and shit.
Deadpool is
And
doing
all
really
Wolverine
creative shit, and
all
he's just
Wolverine is
stabbing.
doing is just going to the next guy.
But,
and
okay.
I fucking laughed my ass off so hard because it's so true. That's what Wolverine does, is stab.
But anyway, the Chris Evans reveal, when he goes, all right, get him, Cap, and then he just goes, flame on, and turns to the Human Torch. And then we see the dude who played Pyro
in the theater.
And then you see the dude who's playing Pyro fight him, and it's like, oh yeah, we got that connection. And like, again, this is like kind of a weird like love letter to the Fox Marvel era, but also making fun of it, and also like, again, the message of you matter. Like that's the whole point of this, is Deadpool wants to matter, and it's, I think, the meta narrative of it is like, these stories want to matter, or these characters do matter, and these characters have lives, and they should still, like, we can't just obliterate them just because we want to, whatever. And then like, oh, it's regenerating, but again, I think it's all leading into Secret War, so I do think there's something there. So then that sequence was great. Going to the Ant-Man thing, we're like, oh, we finally aged. But the fact that they were like tied up together, and he goes, oh, you're awake. I was asleep this whole time.
Not all of you was asleep.
Yeah, not all of you was asleep. And
I
like,
just nipped the tip.
and then there's moments where I'm like, and then it's still crazy that he came back to do it. And then there's moments in this movie that Hugh Jackman has as Wolverine. I'm like, motherfucker, this is why he came back. Because he's too fucking good at it. Like, the man left for 7 years. They did nothing with it. And he goes, all right, I'll come back and do this. And then he does. And then they just give him a monologue that's just like, fuck. Because he's such a good actor. I'm like, damn. Like there are moments, like when he's in the car and he unloads on him, finally. And it's just like, I jumped. Dude, when he punched the fucking roof, I jumped. when he goes, God's sickest joke is you can't fucking die, and he hits the roof of the car, and I was like, Jesus H, man.
He, I think you can very definitely see that he is playing a version of Wolverine that we've never seen before. The
much
Fox,
more violent.
The Fox Logan died in Logan, and it's left that way in the movie, and it's again has a very awesome sequence at the beginning. And it starts it off right away. You're just like, oh, shit. Oh, yeah, we're watching a Deadpool movie, and he's talking to a dead skeleton. But, yeah, I mean, Hugh Jackman he's like, okay, I've played this character before, but not this version of this character. And I know there are some of you who are going like, oh, for fuck's sake, with the multiverse. Honestly, this movie is saying the same thing.
This movie itself is doing it, yeah.
It really is, honestly. And I love the theory that they're shelving them until Secret Wars. I love it, and I'm all for it. And because of that, I don't mind that there's no real overarching narrative, because I feel like they know that they can't really get back onto that. So they're gonna do like 5 or 6 more movies, including the next 2 Avengers, and then they're gonna reboot with Secret Wars.
Also,
is that okay?
Well, it's just I was just thinking about this movie as a whole, and it's just this movie itself, and its impact on the character. Like, again, I don't think I think this. I think more than the other 2 movies fully gets the character, and I think that. But I mean, like, just that moment in the car when he has that monologue, and he, like I said, I was legitimately afraid for a second, and then it just snaps you back into it being a Deadpool movie. He's like, "We're going to fight now." Like, he was hurt by what he said. He didn't have a quip. He's like, I'm going to fight you now.
Well, there's a part during the monologue. Like, we've all had those moments in our lives.
You finally have a moment where you just break down with someone and you're like, I'm in this situation
especially
because of this.
if you're mad at somebody.
Yeah.
Especially. It's not. It's still hurtful if it's somebody you love and you're not mad at them because you're still shouting around them. I've had that before.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I'm not mad at you. Like, I know, but you're still shouting, and I'm. That affects me, and we forget about that. But especially if you're actually mad at somebody and you unload, and you know instinctively that you shouldn't. You know instinctively that you want to watch.
Way to do that. Yes.
You don't want to say whatever, but you do anyway because you're mad. You're and that's stuff I did when I was less mature. Oh my god. I've matured a lot lately. But I've done that in my life many times, and it didn't feel good at all. And you can tell
it never feels good
towards the end. No matter whatever little thing that you get from it is not worth making that other person feel like that.
No.
There's a point towards the end of that monologue when you can tell that Wolverine Logan is like, I'm sorry to be telling you this stuff because I can tell I'm hurting you, and then that's when Deadpool's like, we're gonna fight now.
And then they it's like it's funny.
It's a bonding moment a little bit.
And then that fighting is kind of like, oddly enough, it is played on one hand for laughs of like the homoeroticism of it, but then it's also kind of a release for the both of them. It's because they can't die. They're like, I'm gonna just stab the shit out of you until I get tired, and I fall asleep from stabbing you so much, which is. Again, what is so great about this, and I know that they can't do it because this is in his origin in the movies,
right.
But they don't go into it enough. The fact that Deadpool only exists because he has Logan's DNA in him that gives him that healing factor.
Yeah.
And they obviously they did it a different direction in the movies and whatnot. But like these characters have always been tied to each other in some way. And to finally see it on screen and then see it with comic accurate costumes and like to see it in this crazy multiverse story.
Dude, the mask just made me just so
and again,
hard.
Such a Deadpool story of this meta storyline and like
the Wolverine mask made me so hard.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So and yeah, like it's just so much of this.
I'm soaking wet right now.
Yeah, when he finally got to use the claws himself.
Oh,
I got stuck on my fucking
or when
arm.
he finally got the golden.
The needle drops. The needle drops were perfection in this movie. I gotta give a shout out to the needle drops. They were great.
We gotta talk about Nice Pool.
Oh, it's which is just Ryan Reynolds
And
with
how
the
fucking great
man
it is
bun and a
that
long
he
hair.
just takes him and uses him as a human shield.
Okay, so he first meets him, and that's when we get Dogpool, and then we meet Nicepool, and he's just like really annoyed with him because he wants this fucking dog, and he won't let him have it. He's like, I won't kill him because he's too nice. But yeah, then the final fight shows up, and all these Deadpools are showing up to kill them, and then he holds him up, and he gets shot, and he runs to the side, and he's like, all right, hold on, how long does it take you to heal?
regenerate?
And he goes, I don't regenerate. And he just spits up a bunch of blood.
But then he takes him back.
And he keeps going. And it's like one of those Family Guy bits where you're like, this is going a little too long. And then he goes, you're going to make it. And his head fucking explodes.
And he still uses them and goes. And then a little later, fucking Wolverine just stands up with Dogpool.
And everybody hold your fire.
And just walks.
If you would have just taken the fucking
That's a donut. That's a mobile donut thing. That's as close as you're gonna get to an ambulance right now.
Yeah. Oh, and dude, I knew
they don't.
Going into this movie, I knew the chemistry between them was going to be great, and then the fact that like, whenever Hugh Jackman, like Wolverine would call him out on shit, and he would just be like, it would just turn into a funny little, back and forth. But like, you just fucking murdered the man. Like,
Yeah. He died because of murder.
He died. It's crazy how he died. Nobody could have guessed. He's like, he died because of murder. You fucking dick. You dumb fuck is what he called him. The fucking and then the references to him. He'll do the whole thing of Music Man with no warm ups. If you want to fight us.
The actress who played Cassandra, I thought did a great job.
So, what did you think when they picked him up? Because I had heard rumors about all of these cameos. I had rumors about it, but I was like, "There's no way this."
We haven't even gotten to the cameos. All the cameos in the Void. As far as the ones at Cassandra's,
he fought Sabretooth. We talked about that.
Sure, it was
kind of on front of the Fox logo.
Yeah, which is good. My favorite cameo, I gotta say, is probably
I like that they
was Channing Tatum.
Yeah. Okay. So they get picked up and they get brought back to this temple looking thing. And
That's where they're walking through, and they
the
see
joke at the beginning too, and he goes, "You soiled yourself while you were passed out." I wasn't passed out.
Right, but when they're walking into that thing, that's when you see the Scarlet Witch.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Okay.
That's what I thought.
Right, that's what that was. Okay.
That's what I was thinking. Was from Multiverse.
Oh, that's maybe what they're implying, which would make her a Nexus character. Because I didn't see a body. If you don't see a body, they ain't dead.
Yeah. It's comic books.
But I love that it's an extended slow-mo scene that you're like, all right, here's where it ends. Oh, nope, here comes another cameo. All right, it's done. Nope, here comes another one. And it's just a funny little moment that I just like, everybody in this was laughing at, was like, what? And also laughing.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, if we get Jennifer Gardner as Electro, we get fucking Wesley Snipes, which I think getting Wesley
probably
Snipes...
the biggest, like, mind blown.
Because they didn't like each other,
Yeah.
because Wesley Snipes was a dick on the set of the third Blade movie.
According to everybody who worked on Blade 3 or Blade Trinity, Wesley Snipes was a dick.
And the story I thought I read was like, yeah, Ryan Reynolds kind of called him out and be like, you're being
Well, no, he used to send, like, what was it, David, the guy who directed it. He used to send, like, notes to him
his
written
own
as
note.
Blade.
Yes.
Just weird cryptic shit. I think he was starting to go through his tax bullshit, tax evasion shit.
But yeah, so he shows up, and then we get fucking Channing
And apparently,
Tatum.
according to many reports, the motherfucker was stoned 24/7, like blazing up all fucking day.
He's like, I thought you said you were tired. And he
Yeah.
drops the R word, and he's like, I said retired. I don't want to get canceled.
Yeah. But I think, to me, my favorite had to have been Channing Tatum, because
okay, let me ask you
they
this.
played with it so much.
So we get we get Wesley Snipes Blade before we get Mahershala Ali Blade again, and then this movie again. I feel like this is Disney saying some shit to us, or Marvel saying some shit to us.
I think they're
when
telling us that
takes the bazooka and he shoots it. And he goes, "Which Punisher is this from? There's so many." And he goes, "Yeah, well, this." He goes, "But there's only one Blade, and there's only ever gonna be one Blade." And then he like winks at the like Deadpool winks at the camera.
No, he didn't wink. He just opened his eyes real wide. Yeah, did you think the same thing?
Are we doing Old Man Daywalker?
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. At some point, with all of the things that have gone on with that
bring
project,
him back.
No, I'm saying that they're scrapping the Blade project.
And it's just gonna
Fuck
be
it.
Yeah, they're done with
Hey,
it.
Mahershala, sorry.
There's no place for it. I don't think.
I think if COVID hadn't happened, I think if the
I
actors strike,
think you're right. I think it's all getting to, and I truly believe it's getting all to Secret Wars so we can blow it all up and start over again.
and
Because-
maybe Ali will be back after that. I
and
don't know.
Or maybe we make Blade a legacy title, and we make Wesley Snipes Blade teach Mahershala Ali Blade. Mahershala Ali. But or yeah, we just say leave it and just be happy with the fucking Blade movies we got and move on. Because what are we gonna do with it? How do we do any of it? You know? And you know what? Let the shit explode. Start over, and that's a perfect place to put your Blade in a whole new universe.
Can we just ask one real important question that we haven't asked in a long time? What was the property that was most attached to Eternals after seeing it? Blade, right?
Black
Blade
Knight
and Black Knight,
yeah.
right?
Which
tied
nothing
together.
has come in since.
Nothing is going to come of the Black Knight. Why? Because he's not that great of a character. They were just thinking that they could replace all of these iconic characters with these other fan favorites, and it's not working. Why? Because nobody fucking cares about the Eternals.
And not
nobody
every
fucking
and not,
cares
and not
about Black
every
Knight.
and not every director or writer or somebody like James Gunn that can take obscure characters and make them, work in a way. Like, not everybody can do that. And I think they got spoiled with some really talented filmmakers that can do things like that, and now they're not necessarily working there anymore.
I
and
think they're saying,
more,
fuck it, we're
how
gonna
more
redo
evident is that they're fucking bringing the Russos back? It's more
and
evident.
RDJ.
It's more evident than ever they're going to blow this shit all up.
I can't wait to see him as Doom, though.
But we'll get there. But so
no, let's go there right now. We're done.
No, I want to wrap up the whole thing because I want to talk about
done
the
with
end
it.
of it. I want to
Done
talk
with
about the very end of it, where because then I'm like, okay, guys, while I love these cameos, what do we do? But even them, they were doing this meta thing of like, we deserve an ending to our stories. Yeah. You can get your ending, and we deserve our ending. Let's go out fighting, pretty much. And the final bit is fucking when they're fighting is Blade goes, some motherfucker's still trying to escalate uphill. And I'm like, this fucking movie. But then I'm like, okay, I thought this was a Deadpool Wolverine movie. And then this whole third act happens. And I'm like, oh, I should maybe shut the fuck up and just enjoy the movie as I'm watching it, Jake. That's what I keep having those thoughts, same thing, managing expectations.
Every so often this voice in my head would be like, well, what does this mean for the MCU? And I was like, shut the fuck up.
Watch a damn movie.
Watch a goddamn movie.
It's also partially their fault, and we also said, hey, we like that about
does this relate to the MCU as well? Shut up.
We've trained ourselves to like it, and now we're mad
watching
about
Hugh
it.
Jackman and as Wolverine in a comic-accurate costume fight Deadpool. Shut up.
The third act, when they finally get hunted by the Deadpool Corps, all these Deadpools show up. And this is the moment that's in the trailer where they're walking around the corner to in front of Liefeld's shoe shop, which is fucking amazing. Oh, yeah. They're walking up, and it's a slow-mo to Like a Prayer. And I know it's in the trailer, but in that moment,
Underrated song.
I'm thinking, this is it. This is going to be this part, right? It has to be. And then sure enough, he starts to reach behind his head, and you were freaking out. I'm like, motherfuckers did it. That's what I'm thinking in my head. He's like, oh, you fuckers did it. And yeah, when he finally pulls it over and you see it, I got to be honest with you, and I'm going to be, look, it looks great. I like it. But just like the comic book and the cartoon, when you first see that thing, it's fucking dumb. But then when you take that out of it and you're like, oh my God, I'm seeing him in the comic accurate thing.
The whole sequence, the whole Deadpool slaughtering sequence was so awesome.
Oh my
for me
God,
because it's
the
him
music.
in the costume.
Him with the cowl and
Just fucking shit up.
And this song and the way that it was shot, where it was shot from a wide angle, and it was like an old video game beat 'em up, where like Deadpool's on top level doing shit down up here, while Wolverine
switch back.
Wolverine
and
is
forth,
just jumping on top of dudes, but then they'll toss people, and it's like, it just look. I've said it so many goddamn times. I love buddy cop movies. I love fucking team up movies. Of course, I was gonna love this shit.
Oh,
and guess
action
what,
sequences
dude?
in this were top notch.
I was in my bag watching this fucking game, this fucking thing happen, because I'm just like, wow. I never would have thought we'd get this.
One thing I do want to talk about, there's been a lot of criticisms about Love and Thunder, and I think one of the ones that you and I had was Natalie Portman's helmet, which was clearly all CGI.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I think you and I can agree that what they must have done in this one was given him something to wear with like nothing here but green screen, right?
Well,
because I felt like there was some CGI in the eyes and the nose.
If you've seen Ryan's Deadpool, well, yeah, because his Deadpool mask, the eyes are cut out.
Right.
I think they're cut. I know that the eye. Well, obviously the white part is CG, but I think there's something like cut out, of his eyes.
There might, and
so what I'm imagining is just something that's like a domino mask where it kind of just covers the top of his head. But
here's why it looked so much fucking better than the fucking helmet in Love and Thunder. Yeah. Why? Because they actually used something.
There was a practical
part of his mask.
You could see light going off the black, and you could.
Am I right?
Yes, he was actually wearing a mask, and you could see.
That's why Deadpool looks so.
And hey,
thank you for doing that.
This movie
and
is
not making it all CGI because that would have fucked it up.
This movie is not without its bad CG shots.
No, I thought in general it was all good though,
for the most part. But when they do the money shot of them jumping out of the bus and they land. That is not Hugh Jackman sitting there all feral looking. I'm like, whoa. Yeah, but that cool. Money shot was worth it.
Cool.
Again, he's finally wearing the mask. And for a minute, every time when I see it, I'm like, that's a silly looking mask. But having it actually be tactile and in the scene, that fell
of difference.
That fell away because I'm enjoying it because I'm like, it doesn't look fake to me. And you know what? I can't believe I'm actually seeing Wolverine, and you know what? It does look good.
One of the CGI shots to me that I feel like could have been really fucked up was where she pulls Paradox down into the subway with his head, and obviously you can't do that with a living person, the way she did it, right? You know what I mean? And there are.
I feel like you could have used a dummy there. I think they did towards the end of it.
I'm saying like that the CGI was better than I thought it was going to be. When she was about to do that, I was like, this is going to be terrible. It wasn't that bad. So hats off for that one.
I feel like you could have just done a dummy for that, but again, it's cheap. Again, I keep saying it again. It's probably I know it's cheaper to just CGI the body. I know that.
I feel like you're a dummy.
Maybe not. Maybe fuck yourself.
So overall, we give. Again,
2 raging hard-ons.
I think I enjoyed it a lot as a Deadpool movie. I enjoyed it even more because I get spoiled and get to see Hugh Jackman in a comic accurate costume and play the character in a way that, like you said, we hadn't seen before. And have a movie where it's like, yes, Wolverine's in it. We're going to give him a bit of a backstory, but it doesn't really matter because this is still, at the end of the day, a Deadpool 3 movie. Mm-hmm. He even says there's a lot of exposition for a threequel. Yeah. Like, even he plays with that. And I don't know what it means. I think it really does mean we're just all systems go to Endgame or to Secret Wars. And I think that couldn't be more evident than Comic-Con happening this weekend. And we're going to segue into this as we wrap up the show of like, okay, we get a change. We knew that the Kang Dynasty is out because, again, Jonathan Majors decided to be a bad person, a piece of shit. And
we're saying that because he's been convicted in a court of law.
Yes, it was proven that what he
recorded. He was recorded and arrested.
Yes, he was proven guilty in a court of law.
Right.
That's why we can legally say he's a shitbag.
Say what you will about our justice system, but hey.
So yeah, Kang's out, which again,
bye Rama Tut, bye Kang,
Tyler,
bye Scarlet Centurion, bye Immortus,
Tyler, he's a multiverse character.
I know.
Just make it another variant and start over.
Fair.
What the fuck are we doing?
You want to know why? Because they did that stupid ass end credit scene in Quantumania using Jonathan Majors. And they were like, you know what? He is probably an asshole, but we don't know that for sure yet, so let's leave it as is. Because you spend a lot of time in makeup.
We can't take it back now. We've got to release Loki, so we'll see how it goes. And that's the thing. You already played with the idea that this is the same character played by different actors with the Spider-Man movie, and you had it out with those, but you had to make that scene with all the Jonathan Majors.
You've made it clear that an actor can play 2 roles, You
just did it with this movie.
Not only from that, but from the announcement you made this weekend at Comic-Con.
Okay, That's
we'll
my
get to.
So that's my point. So that's where we're at. So we got footage.
You and I feel different about
There
this.
was footage that came. I have not seen it, but I think there was. I heard that we talked with your brother that there was maybe some leaked footage of Galactus.
There's a
there was
photo,
footage shown.
You can see a photo of he's peeking into something. So it's the shot is you're in like a I don't know, like a restaurant on top of a building or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe in space, it's a space, whatever. But it's just his eyes just fill up the entire like giant window, and that's all you see.
Huh.
But there was
There's
a
a
drone
shot.
light show on Thursday outside of the event that they used drones to make a Galactus, a big Galactus, and then the Fantastic Four symbol, and that was to announce on Saturday that they were gonna show some shit. That was cool. That's what I saw.
I've also I've heard that there was like they saw the thing and it actually like
My brother said he saw some of the footage. I don't know. I haven't looked.
I haven't looked either, but it's probably like I don't know because I don't think they haven't released anything officially on that.
No.
But we did get
Apparently a
the
Thunderbolts trailer.
well. The name was Fantastic Four: First Steps.
Yeah, sure.
Which also says to me that this is going to lead directly into Avengers 5 because the next Avengers movie is Avengers Doomsday that brings back Robert Downey Jr. to be be Dr. Doom. Okay, so here's the thing. Here's my frustrations with this. Rather than take a chance and do something with a different actor,
Like back up the Brinks truck to Daniel fucking Day-Lewis's house and go, man.
Not even that. Hear me out. I am someone that actually listens to the Marvel Wastelanders like scripted podcast.
Yeah.
Dylan Baker is fucking awesome as Doom. He gets his own miniseries. He adds such nuance and such
Nudes?
fucking arrogance and pompousness to like that, to Doom. It makes him really feel like Doom. And I'm like, he would have been such a cool fucking choice. And you know what? You could have committed to the parts of like it just being his voice. Like you can get somebody else's body to be the actor and just have him voice it if you wanted. But like, I feel like you could have done something like that. But to go to RDJ, like, what are we doing? Are we saying that this is a Tony Stark variant that decided to become Doom? Like, what are we doing? Or is he going to be Victor Von Doom, but it's just going to be it's just going to be him, but it's just going to be Victor. Like, what are we doing? What's the point of this? Is what I'm trying to get at.
I think we can safely say that the Doom solo movie that was reportedly in development is out the window.
It's this. Yeah, probably. But it's like, why him? That's what I'm confused.
Look, I
But
totally.
why, I don't want to dampen your excitement.
Come on, man. Come on. Just shut up, man. Just shut. You had your fucking say, you motherfucker. I absolutely, wholeheartedly agree with everything you're saying. Absolutely. Having said that, I've seen Oppenheimer and how much he disappeared into that role compared to Tony Stark, which he only played like a year or two earlier. So I'm confident that they'll do enough with him to make it clear that he's not a Tony Stark variant, that he's not, you know what I mean? And I think audiences are smart enough, and who knows, maybe it'll just be RDJ in the suit and mask, right? And instead, whenever they show flashbacks and shit, it'll be a different actor doing it younger. Maybe. Just to not... But you're right. In as much as I would love to see him do it, because I know he'd kick ass doing it, I agree with you. Why? When there's so many other talented actors that are champing for a bit at the fucking MCU. Yeah. By the way, I fucking love that we know that Giancarlo Esposito is playing Sidewinder, the Cobra, what is it? The Serpent Society. Oh, yeah. Serpent Society, dude.
So, okay, so that's the thing. We get that confirmation now, because I thought it was George Washington Bridge.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that. GW Bridge, yep.
But he's not. Which confuses me again.
So is he going to have superpowers?
Okay, we get it, Feige. We're going to do the fucking Serpent Society at some point. Can you just commit to it then? Because this is the second time they've played with it. Because if you'll remember, before they were going to do Winter Soldier, they were going to do Serpent Society.
Yeah, they
then
should've.
they threw it out, and they did Winter Soldier, and then they did all this other stuff. So, but now they're teasing it again, but we're going to do it with Sam. Okay, but then why wasn't... I don't know. Is the Serpent Society actually really the secret big villain of this movie? I don't know. Could be.
You want to know why
It worries me. Or
You
no,
and-
it doesn't worry
you
me.
and
It's just
I-
like, why don't we
I
just
think-
commit to the Serpent
I
Society?
think you and I have both come up with and I agree, and I wholeheartedly believe this. Let me say that word again. Jesus. I agree with you, and I think after seeing Deadpool and Wolverine and talking it over with you, I honestly am just going to enjoy the next couple movies until they reboot it.
Hey, here's the thing. Maybe you're right. Maybe I shouldn't care because clearly they don't, because they're probably just going to blow it up anyway.
Why else wouldn't you have a 90-year-old playing a fucking Red Hulk? Despite the fact that it's Harrison Ford.
Well, obviously you can do that because he's CG. Duh.
I'm saying there's no longevity for that character in your universe.
For Red Hulk? Yeah, you can't really...
You can't plan out a 10-year plan with that character, can you?
Especially...
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know. And especially narratively when the fucking whole world finds out, oh, our president's a Red Hulk. We probably wouldn't be happy about
Dude,
that.
Anthony Mackie's in his mid to late 40s. I mean, all of these... Elizabeth Olsen's over 40, I believe now.
I think Mackie will get a couple. Depending
I'm
on
just
how
saying-
well this... Hey, hold on. Depending on how well Brave New World does, I think he'll get at least a trilogy.
The point I'm trying to make is that whenever you hear about, like, oh, Anthony Hopkins is going to play Odin, like, okay, but you do know this is going to take like 10 years, right? I mean, are you really willing to do that for... You gotta... That's why I think instead of getting established actors for the next fucking iteration of the MCU, I think you go the NFL route. Sign them to rookie futures, and after 4 years you want to pick up that 5th-year option, you can, or you reboot them with a variant. I think that's the way you should do the next MCU. If you don't perform, you're out, bro. We'll get a new Captain America. All right, I'm done. How long have we been talking?
Yeah, we got to wrap this up.
How long have we been talking?
None of your business. I said, hey, Deadpool Wolverine. It was a good movie you should see.
Hey, Deadpool Wolverine. Hugh Jackman was great. Ryan Reynolds was keen.
Ooh. And I don't know about Avengers Doomsday, but I said, hey,
That was terrible.
fuck you.
Off panel, off topic with Jake and Tyler.